We're at Mega Relief. It's Hurricane Harvey just had hit the Houston area. It was bad. So we usually have Mega Camp in that time of year. And we're doing something called Mega Relief. And both Josh and I are MAPS coaches, and we just got assigned to lead this bus and a bus of people. And we get to this house. And by the way, like the houses are like 8 foot of water for 14 days. And it's like 100-degree weather, like just pretty bad. These are $1 million houses. I mean, really, really nice homes and just devastated. So we get to this house and we're there to clean it out. And Josh and I just have become
we get teamed
friends.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of leading the show, and we're like, let's go, let's get to work. So then what happened, Josh? What happened with the fridge in the laundry room there?
Well, the two of us get assigned to remove the fridge from the property.
Yeah.
What we did not understand or think about was that there was a bunch of food in the fridge that had been there for 14 days.
Yeah, and it was wedged.
100-degree heat.
Like imagine this: you're in a utility room. There's this fridge like wedged up, like it's floating because it's like wedged against the wall. It had floated and then got stuck when the water came down. And we're like, oh, we'll just pick this fridge up. And not only was it full of food, it was also full of water.
That had been there for 14 days.
With no power.
So I think it was my idea to go and pick it up because I thought, hey, two big, strong guys, we'll just pick this up and carry it out. We'll impress everybody. And this is going to be great. We're going to get a gold medal after this. And we went to go and pick it up. And what we didn't do was make sure that the door didn't come open. And we picked it up and we tilted it. And the door swung open and everything inside came gushing out.
All over us,
all over us.
The whole laundry room, and the smell.
So picture 14 days of food and water and 100-degree heat locked in there, locked in the fridge.
Yeah, there was a 10-pound turkey that looked like a 50-pound turkey. It was like disgusting, and the smell was awful. And we had just got there. It was like 9 a.m. We had to work there until about 4 or 5 p.m. And that smell was there all day, and it never let up. We had to put Vicks Vapor Rub underneath our noses. It was so bad.
So the smell was not only locked into the fridge, but it probably was locked into your nose for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, my God. It was
I
bad.
can still smell it.
It was bad. And throughout the day we're working and someone's like, what is that smell? And Josh and I are like,
not us. That is, that's an integrity move right there. That's good. Great job. And here is a real estate titan that is pushing the limits on the status quo.
And it took years and years of failing to get where I am today.
You're like, whoa, where you actually get the most clarity.
That was kind of one of those pivotal moments when I started building a business.
I spent a lot of time becoming an expert salesperson.
All right, we've got an amazing person on with us today, Josh Roy. He's the team leader and CEO of the Roy Group, one of the top performing real estate teams in the country. With over 25 years of experience, Josh has built a powerhouse business in Kansas. Last year did over 460 units, over 100 million. You told me earlier that in 21, you did over 600 units. That's just mind-blowing. Known for your guaranteed to sell your home in 59 days, Josh has mastered building systems that let his agents focus on relationships and results. We've got a lot to cover today, Josh. Why don't you first tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, guys, I'm really excited to be here, honored to be here. Been in the business for 25 years, been with Keller for 15 of those. I'm very proud of that. Got a beautiful wife, 3 kids, and just really passionate about the team, growing the business, helping agents. So we're around 20 agents right now. We're on track to do around 500 again this year. So we're proud of that also. Yeah, just really pumped up to bring some.
That's incredible.
Value.
20 agents, that means the average agent's doing more than 2 deals a month on your team.
Yes.
And what's your average purchase price?
$220.
$220. Got it. So these people are selling some homes.
Yeah, we're actually very proud of the per agent productivity. It's just ultimately it's a thing that we really focus on. We train a lot, we practice a lot, we're constantly practicing our presentations, and so I mean our agents are all very skilled.
Awesome.
So real quick, you mentioned that you've consistently sold over 400 units, almost 500 units. I don't know, anybody listening to this knows that like it got a little rough, a little dicey in 2022, 2023. So what would you say is the reason for you remaining consistent in a little bit of a dip in the market?
Well, I would say consistency, and yet what does that mean, right? For me, I think the thing that has been the biggest reason why is that we've allowed our business to change however it needed to change. Meaning, if it got tough out there, we doubled down on our activities. Well, things were going crazy and you could just do 10, 20 home sales without even trying. We doubled down on giving our agents a bunch of leverage. So we've just changed the business as often as it needed to change to just stay with the times.
How does it look when you say you change the business? Like, I'm thinking through the lens of an agent on a team or an individual agent. You come to work one day and you realize you have to do 2 or 3 times as much work to make the same amount of money. Like, walk me through how you work through the mindset and help agents understand that, it's time to buckle down and increase our activities.
I think the thing with really that has helped us out is just staying consistent with telling the agents about the market. And like we've always doubled down on our efforts, so we haven't ever been afraid to work hard. And I think a lot of people come into this industry with this false understanding of what they're really getting into. And at the end of the day, right, they're coming in and they're getting a job. And we're just constantly preaching to our agents, treat this like a job, treat this like a job. Come into the office at the same time every day. Treat it like a job. And I think if you do that, whatever market that you're in, you're going to be successful as long as you keep doing that.
Josh, what's the alternative? Like, if someone's not treating it like a job, how might they be showing up?
Well, they don't show up.
Or maybe
Or
they come
they
in
show up.
and work for 3 or 4 hours and then they go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's fine to have a home office and all of that. We've actually thrived. We've got our own office. We've got plenty of office space here. We encourage the agents to come into the office. We do in-office meetings. I know a whole bunch of people went to Zoom and all that. And I think for a period of time, that was great. And it really got us through where we was at. And then we quickly pivoted to, well, back in the office. We get energy from each other. We have a good, strong culture of accountability. We challenge each other. We're a very competitive group. And so we just really feed off of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I think that energy matters a lot. Your environment matters a lot. What did you see as the biggest difference when you were working from home, when you needed to, and then coming back in the office? What was the biggest difference between those two scenarios?
I would just say the energy that you get from other people and their positivity. Whenever you feel that and you're around other people, I'm the kind of a guy that I get energy being around people that are driven, wants to win, work hard, want to have a good time and have fun while they're doing it. For us, we didn't really go home during that time. We kind of was always in the office, and then we just really doubled down on that.
Why do you think I don't know if it's just inside of real estate, but why do you think people don't treat it like a job? Why do so many agents not treat it like a job? And how do you create the environment that gets people to treat it like a job?
Well, I still treat it like a job.
Okay.
So I think as long as the person out front who is in charge of the company and leading the company is still treating it like a job, then it's easier to ask the people inside of your organization to go and do that. Now, as far as why people don't, boy, that's a good question. I don't know if I've got the answer for that.
So I guess one more question, because you're bringing people into this culture where everyone shows up, everyone's selling a ton of homes, everyone's treating it like a job. Do a lot of agents show up and be like, I'm not going to do that? Like, is that a common thing, or what is there friction when you're trying to get people to understand?
Are you talking about in the recruiting process as you're recruiting people and you're telling them about what you expect? Is that the part you're talking about, Chase?
Yeah, I'm talking specifically. You're attracting a new agent, but they're like, I don't want to do that, like, because I'm assuming that comes up. So, what does that look like to get them on board with how they can be successful in your organization?
So we do a very good job in the very beginning telling people how we operate, what the expectations are, and we're constantly changing the expectations or tweaking them to support how our team operates and really give a clear picture to anybody who's coming to our team. We have brand new agents, we have experienced agents, we have all different kinds of agents who are coming to us. And it's very important to us that whenever they come in and they start working here, that they understand what they're signing up for. We're a high producing team. We work hard, we play hard, and we expect you to come into the office and will be part of the team, be part of the business.
Awesome. I love that. That's exactly what I was getting at. What's the expectations look like? And does that, I guess, last question, super fast, does it weed people out?
It does. And it doesn't weed everybody out. And there are people that they come in and after 2 months or 30 days, they're like, hey, this just isn't how I want to go and do my business. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's okay. We're very clear, though, on how we do business, and we want people to be working with us that they fit that mold.
So I think I understand what you're saying as to why you change your expectations, but if you could just elaborate on that a little bit more, like why do your expectations change and you're constantly shifting them with what or why you're expecting what from your agents?
Well, I think it's about the feedback that we get whenever an agent comes on and they choose to exit the team. We do want to understand what did we miss up front that maybe you didn't understand, or that we can do a better job explaining, providing more clarity up front. So really at the end of the day, feedback is a very important thing for us. We're constantly trying to get feedback, improving and growing. And so we ask everybody who exits our company, hey, where did we fall short? And so we're just constantly taking that feedback and changing our expectations. Our director of growth, Ashley Haynes, she 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 does a very good job with explaining how the team operates, and then she also is the one who's doing the offboarding. So she takes that information and she's just constantly tweaking her expectations conversation up front.
Here's what I love about that. Gary said this to us actually when we were meeting with them, and I've heard him say it multiple times, that feedback is the breakfast of champions. And anybody listening to this, whether you are on a team, an individual agent, a team owner, if you're not constantly seeking feedback or looking internal as to what could have been done differently, then that's where, that's the gross separator between someone who's extraordinary and someone who's average. Is someone who's extraordinary, they stop and they look back and bring feedback into their world. A good example of that, Diana Kokoska, she would teach how she would go on listing presentations, and then she would leave it and she would literally start writing down and journaling, like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And creating this like feedback loop to improve her process. And turns out she got pretty good at taking listings.
How do you get better though at taking feedback? Because that's a thing in the very beginning. I didn't want to hear it. And then as I got older and I matured and I kept going on appointments and people would come on the team and exit, I finally just had to stop and look in the mirror and say, okay, like at the end of the day, I'm responsible for everything bad that happens here, and all the good stuff isn't me. So it's just, how do you do that?
I think something that I would want to add here that's so obvious and it's so overlooked is this. If you have a goal, meaning you're here and you want to get here, that means you have to do different, period. Like, you're not going to go from selling 20 homes to selling 40 homes without doing something different, which means you need to embrace feedback, right? It doesn't mean all feedback is equal, by the way. Like, you want to collect as much as you can. And I always add on to Gary's statement, feedback's the breakfast of champions. I always add, sometimes it tastes like bad.
Crap.
Yeah. I was going to say the other word, but we'll keep it PG. Sometimes it tastes awful, right? And, I'll never forget when I was 22, my boss told me Chase would be great. And she was talking to our boss's boss, right? And I was like looking at her like, would be. And she's like, if he would just learn to shut up. And I drive home and I'm like, I can't believe she said that, right? And about 6 months later, I learned this brand new thing that I came up with all by myself, that if I talk less, I'd actually sell more. So sometimes you're not ready to hear it, but oftentimes it's there. And that's why people hire coaches. I mean, you've been a coach, Josh. Do you have a coach right now?
Yeah, I actually have 2.
So I'm assuming you get some feedback there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, I've grown into that, right? Because I constantly tell Ashley, who's recruiting people for our team, I tell her, hey, Ashley, you wouldn't have hired me in the very beginning. I said, as a brand new agent, you just wouldn't have hired me. I was egotistical. I thought I had all the answers, like all these things. And then as I've grown in my career, I've realized every day that I know less and less. And I've just become a lot more curious as to why and how, and try to ask questions. I don't always do a good job at it. And yes, I still have coaches.
Well, here's what's funny. You said egotistical. And I think once we come to grips with we're not the exception to the rule, you can then become the exception to the rule. And what I mean by that is once you get out of your own way and become humbled that you don't know what you don't know, and there's a lot that you don't know, and feedback is the way to improve that. And change is, the word, the saying is, I think it's growth equals change equals hard. And that's when you become the exception to the rule. That's when you become the best version of yourself. And honestly, like how you find massive success.
Remember that quote we heard Tuesday, Brent? It was, it's what you learn after you know it all that counts. And that was a quote from Harry Truman, and John Wooden used it a lot. But yeah, should we shift
I mean, it's
gears?
funny.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say that it's funny that you bring that up, Brent, about that you aren't that special or you aren't that unique, because my coach told me that about 30 days ago. He said, you're finally realizing that you're not that unique. Now, at the time, I was like, what? And then as I thought about it, I was like, okay, I get that. So, I mean, it's interesting that you
And it took you 25 years in the business to realize that.
Slow learner.
So I wanted to shift gears over to this program. Like, let's talk about it a little bit. You guarantee you're going to sell someone's house in 59 days. First of all, how do you do that? And secondly, like, what's the significance of that inside of your business?
So we've been doing this MOFR program for probably 15 years, and we've tweaked it some. It's actually now that we will sell your home in 59 days, or we'll buy it for 95% of the appraised value. And so for us, we just feel very strongly that we have so much to offer home sellers, and that our main goal is to get in front of them. And we've bought plenty of houses, and we've helped people out who are in a pickle. And it's a good program. It isn't a great program for everybody, but for the people that are really in a pinch and they really need a plan to go forward that they can stick behind, it's a great program.
All right. Like, I want you to keep explaining the program, but I got to back up. I got to back up to you saying you'll buy it for 95% of the appraised value. So aside from, having a sleazeball appraiser that's going to give a low appraisal, like, how are you actually doing that and not losing money? Like, that's an interesting thing. Are you that confident that you can get it sold in 59 days? Is it a pricing strategy? Is there things that the seller has to commit to that puts
all the above
when you getting to that point?
All of the above. So pricing is important. We do require that they get an inspection up front, so that way we know if there's any major items, and they are required to repair some of those items. We do obviously come beside them, help them, hire contractors, all that. And then, it's just about pricing, and we do come in, bring in a professional stager. We get a full appraisal on the property, so we've got a price that's already been backed on paper by an appraiser.
Just semantics here. Who's paying for that? Like, just so we know.
Home seller is.
So the home seller pays for the appraisal up front.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the staging.
And the inspection, yeah. So our position is that hey, if we're going to put $200,000 on the line to go and buy this property, we need to understand that you're as committed as us to this process.
Mm.
And if you are, we'll put our cash up and we'll put that behind our program, and we'll either get your home sold or we'll go buy it. Because we all understand, well, one of the things, in my opinion, to getting homes sold quickly is just to, whenever they go up for sale, that they're in the best condition possible, that they're priced right, effectively, repairs are done, staged homes, we all understand, go for more money. And so, like, whenever we do all of that, and then we follow through with how our team operates and marketing and all that, we can just get behind that.
So you have this, what Gary calls a MOFR, make offer for immediate response, which is, hey, we'll guarantee your home sold in 59 days. We'll buy it at 95% of appraised value. How many people, first of all, we can jump into the semantics of how you get that message out in a second, but how many people actually say yes to that? Or is it more like 9 out of 10 you meet with because of the MOFR and then they just sign up for a standard listing? Or
I'd say it's probably 1 out of every 50 choose the program.
1 out of every 50?
Yeah.
50. Okay. Is it because, is the program more expensive? Is there a higher commission rate with that program because you're risking
There is
money?
a higher fee, and then you've also got those upfront costs that most people, they just don't want to do. I totally understand. And so
Okay.
if they don't want to go and do it, well, that's totally fine. We can still offer you everything that we're doing, whether you choose the program or not, and just go forward with us today without actually choosing that program.
All right. We've got friends on this that are, they're not on a team. They don't run a team, maybe don't have the resources in their mind to execute on this type of a MOFR. How could someone use this call to action and have the means to actually follow through? Is like, how could someone do this today if they're on their own and they want to have something that sets them apart?
So if I was on my own and was trying to do this, what I would probably do is I would find in my town the biggest investor who buys the most properties. And I would just go to him and I would partner and ask him, hey, at what price will you buy anything? And then figure out what that percentage is. Because just because we do 95% doesn't mean that everybody else has to go and do that. You could do
Sure.
85%. You could do whatever your percent is. It's just a call to action to get in front of people. And if they choose that program behind you, you've got an investor who will follow through. Now, we're at a space where I am the investor, but for probably 5 years of me doing this program, I wasn't.
So real quick, just this will be a quick answer, and then I have a bigger question. How many homes have you bought?
Probably over 50,
So you bought 50 homes. Okay, cool. How long have you been running this program?
15 years.
Okay, so 50 into 15, about 3 a year, something like that.
And I still own probably
Got it. So you're just like, screw it, I'll buy it, hold it, rent it, whatever.
So the very first time that we did this program, that the guy actually, the home seller, chose to go forward with this program, we actually bought his property, put it right back up for sale. We got it under contract the next day. And so we didn't actually have to really close on it because of how all that fell into place. So at the end of the day, it's just a MOFR. It gets you in front of people. If they do want to go forward with the program, it's a great way to bring properties to your investors, or you become the investor.
So just reminding everyone, MOFR is make offer for immediate response. So it's something you put in front of someone. So how are you putting this MOFR in front of people? Like what are the areas you put this? Is it on every piece of marketing you do, or where is it? Where do sellers find it?
Radio, TV, emails. Our agents are talking about it. It's on our website. It's on our moving trucks. It's pretty much anywhere and everywhere that our team advertises or markets.
And if you had to guess, like on the amount of listing appointments you attend, how many can you attribute to the MOFR? Like what percentage? Is it like half your listings or more or less?
I'd say it used to be a lot more, and that's kind of slowed down some. So I would say 25%.
Okay. I literally text Brent before this call. Did you read my text, Brent?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
I texted him because I was reading your bio, and I've known you for quite a while, but I just want to kind of catch up on what's been happening recently. And I was like, man, we used to run this exact mofer, and it just wasn't getting anywhere because everyone's home is selling in 4 or 5 days. And today's market, that's not happening. So I was telling
Uh-huh.
Brent, I'm like, we need to dust this
Well,
mofer
yeah, the
off and get
average
it back
days
out
on
there.
market is, I think, 60, maybe over 60 days now.
Yeah. So I think
So
this is a really timely conversation for a lot of people nationally. We're seeing inventory increase. Is your
Uh-huh.
market changing right now, Josh?
Yeah, we've increased. I want to say that the average is in the low to mid 20s, so 20 days on market, which right, well, back in 2008, whenever it was 140 days or 120, and that was everybody's normal, 20 feels like forever, and it just isn't. So we're actually thinking about changing our program over to guaranteed cash offer in 24 hours.
Got it. So what's the difference there? Like, give us the kind of rough structure of that.
Haven't actually built that out yet. There's a couple of agents who are doing that across the country, and it's feels like a good way to generate more appointments because it's a guaranteed cash offer. I mean, the whole cash offer thing has kind of came and left somewhat. I mean, it isn't totally gone. And one of the cool things about Wichita is that we don't get a lot of national investors in here.
hmm.
It would be a great way for us to go out there and go buy more properties for people that it's a great fit. And if it isn't, that's okay. We will gladly list your property for sale.
Here's what I'm taking out of this is you just said Wichita doesn't have a bunch of these outside investors. You also said like, hey, we're thinking about switching it to this because maybe the market is determining that. I think the piece I'm getting out of this is like when someone listens to a podcast like this and they're like, I'm going to go do this mofer. I think the better thing to do is say, what would cause sellers to do something today in today's market, in my market, with the current ecosystem? Like if there's a lot of investors already in your market sending out cash offer emails and cash offer mail, the cash offer mofer might not work.
Right.
So I think you need to study your market to understand what call to action you're going to put in place.
Yep.
And why do you think so like you guys are obviously starting to analyze this and you're looking at like other markets that are having success with it. Why do you think the cash offer in 24 hours is going to generate more business for you guys? Like, what have you seen in your market that caused you to think that?
Well, I just think that people these days want the easy button, right? We're all busy. We've got a whole bunch going on. Everybody's going 100 miles an hour. And if they can beat having to put their house up for sale and all the showings and all that, then why would they not at least explore that option? And at the end of the day, right, it's just another mofer.
To
We're
get your
just
foot in the
trying to get
door.
people,
Your goal is to get your foot in the
our
door,
goal is to get them to do it. Yes.
reach the motivated.
Yes.
Interesting.
So what are your agents doing to find business? So aside from what you're doing for them, obviously they're selling a lot of homes. How
Mhm.
are they going and getting business?
Well, the thing about our team, right, is that we do generate a lot of leads for the agents. And so a good portion of them just have to go and open up our database and start prospecting and lead generating in there.
So,
We
so
have others.
let's stay there for 2 seconds. So some agents are probably getting their unfair share of that. Would you agree? Okay. So what do those agents like? What kind of characteristics do those agents embody, or what do they do differently than the agents who aren't getting the business that they are?
So we've got a brand new agent on our team named Michael. He's been with us not quite 45 days and he's already put 3 deals under contract. Brand new.
Wow. So 45 days, 3 deals under contract. What's the
Working
secret?
on his third.
Yeah.
Well, he's here every day. Like,
Everyone's
I
looking
mean,
for the
I don't
magic
want to be
pill here, Josh. You're just saying to
too,
show up.
yeah, I don't want this. Yeah, you guys are putting me on the spot here.
No, I love it. I love it. I mean, it
I
doesn't have to
just,
be more than that.
at the end of the day, he's just here every day. We've got an office upstairs that we've put in a whole bunch of cubicles, and they can come in, they can plug in their laptop. We've got headsets up there. The desks are all up high so they can prospect while they're standing, and he's just in there every day and he's doing it, and we can hear him. And his calls are kind of clunky, and that's okay. But he's doing it enough that he's finding people inside of the database that he can get that he can actually get into the office. He will do a presentation, and then he's out there taking these people into properties and he's writing contracts. Like, it's not that tough. And I think inside of the real estate space, we all want it to be easy because it looks easy on TV, and
So
it's not.
So let me ask a more pointed question. Okay, let's focus on Michael. He's there every day. Got it. So if I show up every day, I'm gonna see results. Like, give us an idea how many hours is he working? How many calls is he making? Like, is he calling for a half hour and then taking a break for 3 or 4 hours and then coming back, or like what's happening?
I'm not up there, so I'm going to assume that he's doing his 3 hours every
So
day.
the prescription is 3 hours of what? Like on the phone getting business done?
I wouldn't even say that it's on the phone getting business done. It's calling people. I think that he calls until he gets a person who's interested, and then he focuses on that person. And then after he's done, right, then he's putting them on a home search. He's texting them, telling them thank you. He's doing all of these things to get the customers, and he's building rapport. So
what I'm hearing is it's simple. It's not easy.
it's not easy.
You just come in and you march to the beat of the drum, which is, I'm guessing he practices, and then he gets on the phone and he calls, does the activities, and gets better and better and better as he goes because of it.
Mhm.
And then he, right now, just through sheer volume, is finding people probably raising their hands. And my guess is if after 40 days he's finding this type of success, he's going to get better at finding the motivated, and will, as he sharpens his tool belt. So it's really not any more complicated than that.
It is.
Dang it, Josh! I thought you were going to give us the magic
No,
pill, dude.
I'm probably not very exciting here, and people are going to turn this off. But at the end of the day, it's about, for me and this team, it's about treating it like a job. And if you have a job, you have expectations that you have to go and do, or you get fired. Yet, whenever you become a real estate agent, you are self-employed. And I think that's part of the power of our team, is that we give those people that structure where they understand how to treat this like a job.
So this is like the most interesting part of this whole thing to me, is we know what to do, we know how to do it, and yet we want to find other ways not to do what we know we need to do. Like, that's the battle that's happening every single day.
Mhm.
This is not a complicated thing. You are either working with people who are looking to buy and sell homes, or you're finding people who you can work with to go buy and sell homes. That's it. There's just two processes here. And I think, just to put it bluntly, if you're out there and you need a kick in the pants, if you're not working with a buyer and seller, then your only job is to find a buyer and seller to work with, period. Anything else is just an excuse not to do your job.
All right. So on paper, this sounds amazing, but there is a reality to working with buyers and sellers. There's an emotional draw. There's an emotional draw to hearing no on the phone all the time, which causes overwhelm. So Josh, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to people feeling overwhelmed? Like how do you deal with and handle overwhelm to the point where you can focus and thrive?
So if we're talking about getting on the phones, right, and hearing no over and over, the best thing that helped me was just to remind myself that they're not saying no to me. They're saying no to the idea that I'm presenting in front of them. And so that made it easier for me to hear all those no's, because you'd make 100 calls, 200 calls, or however many calls, and you would hear that, and they'd be like, no, we aren't interested. Eventually, that does impact how you feel. And it just finally got to the point where I did it enough, and I thought, are these people really saying no to me? They don't even know who I am, and they couldn't go and pick me out of a crowd. So why am I taking it personally?
Oh, and by the way, like if they're saying no to your idea, maybe your idea doesn't align with them because you didn't ask a good enough question to figure out
Right.
what idea actually solves their problem, and then you just get better at that part.
Well, and I think that just comes through repetition,
Yeah.
right? You have to do it while it's uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable and you understand.
So removing yourself from being tied to the outcome by saying they're not saying no to me, they're saying no to the idea. And I just need to get better at figuring out what idea actually solves our problem. Chase, you got any closing questions for us? You always have the best ones.
Well, I do want to go back. I mean, Josh, you've been doing this 25 years. So if I'm a newer agent, I don't have that under my belt. Like, what would you do if you had to just start all over today? You don't have a database, you don't have money to run TV ads and, whatever, radio and all that stuff. Like, how would you go about getting deals right this second?
I do an open house every Sunday.
Okay. Every Sunday. Interesting. Tell us more about that. Like, what does doing an open house look like in Josh's world, by the way? Is that like
I've not
2 hours?
not
You show
actually
up,
done
throw
an open
signs down, and
house
get
in
out?
a long time. So, but in the very beginning, right? So my dad's a builder, and that's how I got into this industry. And I remember that I did an open house on one of his new builds every Saturday and Sunday for a year straight. Every Saturday and Sunday, except for holidays, right? And you just get in front of people and you just become their friends and you start asking them questions and then you follow up with them. And then you start to text them properties and you become their friends and you build rapport. You pay attention to their children, and eventually you've got customers who want to go buy and sell houses. Like if I was a brand new agent and I was just getting in, really that's what I would go do.
So if I'm brand new and someone says, go do open houses, do I go to the open house and do I have a sign-in sheet and someone walks in and I say, hey, welcome to my open house, sign in here, have a look around, let me know if you have any questions, or does it look different than that?
I don't think that it has to. I mean, it can. I think at the end of the day, it's just how do you build rapport with people? How are you being helpful to people? We would always bring other listings of other properties that were up for sale in the area to every open house. And one thing that we did early on is we would schedule appointments after our open house for those houses. So say from 4:15 to 5:15, and anybody that came in, we would tell them that we've got these other properties open after our open house. If they would like to go in them, we can go take them into these other properties in the area from 4:15 to 5:15. And so it gave us extra time to go out there and talk to these people and build rapport and connect with these people because we were in other properties and we could go and follow them around in these other homes easier.
I think that's brilliant. Bonus points. Have those other properties on like a PDF on your phone and be like, oh, I'll text it to you. And now you got their contact info. Just simple, easy way. What do you got, Brent?
Well, like it seems so intuitive, and yet I would venture to say that there's a lot of agents today that don't do something like that, but the intention behind being prepared in a way that gets you closer to closing the gap of getting people to work with you. Meaning you show up with a tool of like, hey, by the way, I can go show you these other homes. I think Chase has a strategy where he will have one that's, a little bit bigger, one that's a little bit smaller, one that has one extra bedroom, one that, maybe has an extra garage. So if whatever they say, well, I don't like it because of this, be like, well, I have this one we can go look at after the open house. I think, Chase, that's your pitch. But I think the point is like being intentional. It's a job. After your open house, you need to be available to go show houses. You need to have strategies to get people to say, yes, I want to continue talking to you and go look at another house. So, and I think that's just the key piece that people miss. They think being prepared for an open house is putting some signs up and having a sign-in sheet.
Yeah. It's more than that if you want to find success. So Josh, close us out here. Last thoughts, like what's one thing you wish every realtor could embody, or you could just, if you could plant it in their seed, like the matrix, in their head, like a seed with the matrix, you just inject it right in their head and they know it. What's the one thing you wish every realtor knew?
Your only job is to go and find people who want to buy and sell a home today.
I can't drop my mic. It's hanging.
Sorry.
Mic drop.
Sorry for being boring, but I mean, at the end of the day, guys, that's what I've done, and that's what we try to teach people inside of our company to go and do every day.
So if you want to make money, do that. But if you don't care about money, then don't worry about it.
So success is boring, and we don't need creativity to find success, is what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a perfect thought to land on because, there's so many shiny objects in this business and so many ways that people think they should go run their business. And at the end of the day, agent, ask yourself this question: is what you're doing today getting you closer to finding a buyer or seller? And if the answer is no, then just find something that's going to help you do that. Awesome.
You've been great, Josh. Really good to
Okay,
see you,
thank you
man.
guys.
You know,
Yep,
I
it's
thought
good
it
to
was going
see
to
you.
be boring, but it wasn't, Josh. You were
It's
actually
kind of
very-
boring, guys.
No, you're
Let's
you're
be
solid,
honest.
dude. So
No way.
we appreciate you and your time and very impressed with your business and what you built in Wichita. So
Yes, thank you guys.
Thanks, my friend. Appreciate you.
take care.
Okay.